Okay, so this is going to be your last video on chain rule. This one involves trig functions, and it not only involves chain rule, but it'll be the chain rule multiple times. I'll talk a little bit more about that when I get there. All right, so for example A, this is the peanut versus this, which is the M&M. So when I go to do the derivative, as usual, we do the derivative of the peanut first, 3x squared plus 4. And then we do the derivative of the entire M&M, which is going to be the cosine, and the peanut remains the same. Okay, so easy enough. Now this one, and pay close attention, this is the peanut. As we work our way out, sine of all this stuff, this is the M&M. And then this is a first for you guys. That makes this whole thing like the cookie, right? There's the peanut inside the M&M, which is then inside the cookie. And we need to do the derivative of each of those from the inside out. Here we go. The derivative of the peanut is 4. The derivative of the M&M is the cosine of 4x minus pi. And then the derivative of the entire cookie is secant squared of everything that's in the parentheses. All right, so again, it's the derivative. Let me see if I can underline this. The derivative of the peanut, the derivative of the M&M, and the derivative of the entire cookie. All right, so continuing with part C, if I rewrite this, it's a little easier to do if you think of it this way. It's the secant of 5x to the third. All right, so I'm seeing that there is a peanut, and then there's an M&M, and then on top of that, there's an entire cookie. Okay, and again, we're going to work our way from the inside out. So first, dy dx. The derivative of just the peanut is 5. The derivative of the M&M, right? And the derivative of secant is secant tangent. So secant 5x tangent 5x. And then the derivative of the entire cookie is the 3 out in front of secant 5x and subtract 1 from the exponent. And then when you clean this up, okay, and that's probably the most important part of this problem, is this 3 and this 5 multiply together to be 15. Here I have 2 secant 5x's, but here I have a third one, so this becomes secant to the third of 5x. And then I still have this tangent of 5x. So it's the cleaning up part. Okay, let's take a look at D. All right, so let's continue on this one. So we've got the product rule. It looks like I'm looking at this times this, but the cosine part is a peanut. So and this is not the first time you've seen this. So it's the first times the derivative of the second. Now, the derivative of the second is the peanut times the derivative of the M&M. And then plus, so that's first derivative of the second, plus the second times the derivative of the first. Okay, now these two terms, right, 1, 2, seem to have a 3x squared in common. Okay, a 3x squared in common. So then I am left with an x, actually a negative x sine 3x. And over here, I'm left with a cosine 3x. Now, I am going to switch that around. It's just kind of strange. It looks funny to me to have this negative as a leading coefficient inside the parentheses. So instead, I'm going to write it as cosine 3x minus x sine 3x. Okay, now on this next page, it looks like I think I only have 2 left. 2 All right, here we go for part E. So this is going to be the quotient rule because it looks like a fraction, okay? Both the top and the bottom are both peanut M&Ms. Okay, so let's just follow the rules. Here we go. So it's low. Now D high. So derivative of the peanut times the derivative of the entire M&M. That's low D high. Minus high, and then D low. So the derivative of the peanut is 2, and the derivative of sine is cosine 2x. And then squaring the bottom, and away we go. All right, now we do need to factor. So on the top, there are 2 terms. I can clearly see that they both have a 2, and I can also see that they have a 2x minus 1 squared. So let me pull that out. I see a 2. I see a 2x minus 1 squared. I'm pretty sure that's it. If not, I'll see it in a second. So out of these 2 terms, I took a 2 and a 2x minus 1 squared. So I'm left with 3 and sine of 2x. Out of these 2 terms, if I took the 2 out and one of those 2x minus 1s, it looks like I'm left with 2x minus 1 and a cosine of 2x. And then in my denominator, I haven't done anything. Okay, so I'm going to need in the brackets to distribute this cosine of 2x along with this negative. Okay, I'm distributing 2 different things. So that would become negative 2x cosine 2x and positive cosine 2x all over sine squared 2x. And then I do not have any like terms. So that's my whole answer. All right, last problem in this lesson. Ooh, and we get to do some e's and natural logs. This is going to be awesome. Let me switch colors. All right, so I'm seeing that this is a product rule. And not only that, but there are some peanut M&Ms involved in both of them. Okay, because it's not just plain e to the x, and it's not just the natural log of x. So those things, if they're not plain x's, they are peanuts. Okay, here we go. The derivative of f. So the first, that's easy, times the derivative of the second. Okay, so the derivative of the second, first I have to take the derivative of the peanut, and then derivative of the second is 1 over 3x minus 2, plus the second times the derivative of the first. Now, that exponent is not a plain old x, so I have to do the derivative of the exponent. And then the derivative of e to anything is e to anything. Okay, so now it looks like those 2 terms have an e to the 2x plus 1 in common. So I'm going to factor that out. And here, I'm going to write that as a fraction. That is a 3. It looks funky. And then I'm going to need to get a common denominator. So in here, this is going to be 3x minus 2. That's still a 3 for the first fraction. But this one is going to be 2 times 3x minus 2 times the natural log of 3x minus 2. And then here, I do need to distribute. Okay, now I'm distributing both the 2 and the natural log of the 3x minus 2. Okay, now you can do that in 2 separate steps if you'd like. Okay, but you are an AP Calc, so I'm going to do it at the same time. 3 plus 6x natural log 3x minus 2 minus 4 natural log 3x minus 2. All right, you can do this. I have faith. Come with your questions tomorrow.